Now, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufudampare, has charged personnel deployed to escort protesters participating in the Arise Ghana demonstration today to treat them with respect and dignity. His call comes ahead of the planned protest by the pressure group to demand better living conditions in the wake of the prevailing harsh economic times. The IGP believes today's demonstration is an opportunity for the police service to demonstrate that Ghana is truly a democratic state. He spoke to the personnel at the forecourt of the National Police Headquarters here in Accra.
Us through the end so beautifully. Next point is that we should continue to remember that those demonstrators are human beings like us. Those demonstrators are Ghanaians like us. They are brothers and sisters. And therefore, we should treat them with all the respect, the civility, and the dignity that each and every human being deserves. In effect, we should treat them the way we would have loved to be treated if we were on the other side. And from that, it means as you go out there, if anybody needs help, help the person. If it is you, that is your effort, that is going to take for somebody to continue to live in order to accomplish his God-given destiny, please do that. And do that joyously. Do that with love. Do that with a sense of humility. Do that with a sense of humility and humanity. And at the end of the day, we win the hearts and minds of these demonstrators. And as a way of contributing towards that, we are deploying 2 mobile police hospitals for the purpose of this demonstration, both for yourself and also for any demonstrator who may need our assistance in this regard. We want to show the world that as a country, our democracy is growing from strength to strength. And this is a finest opportunity to demonstrate that. And we cannot, and I repeat, we cannot miss this opportunity. So as we go there and go out with all that we have shared, we want to see that the end product will be as follows. 1, the demonstrators themselves and their leadership will be so happy with us that after the demonstration, they will come and wanting to say a big thank you. 2, the rest of the people of Ghana will also be so glad in terms of the way we have conducted ourselves and in terms of the way the demonstrators have also behaved, such that we will be proud of ourselves as a country. And 3, the rest of the world will also continue to see us as a beacon of hope in the sub-region and beyond when it comes to democracy, when it comes to peace, when it comes to demonstration of humanity. So as we go there, we know we can do exactly that. Let's go there and shine. Let's go there and win the hearts and minds of the demonstrators. Let's go there and win the hearts and minds of the people who are.
I will take you live to the grounds where my colleague Manuel Cranting is marching with the demonstrators later on in this bulletin for you to get all the latest on that. But in the meantime, former Finance Minister Seth Terkper says in this current hardship, Ghana has to consider going back to the IMF. The former minister has said that without the IMF, it will be difficult to look at the rapid growth in inflation and others. Tax analyst Eric Amponsa-Boateng is also asking government to sit down and have clear plans of action on what they can do to improve the economy, because all the policies the government is introducing is no different from what the IMF will ask us to do. We'll take a quick break here. We'll bring you details of that story and more after this break. Welcome back from the break there. Now, earlier we were talking to you about the Arise Ghana demonstration, which is currently underway, and the IGP admonishing the police personnel deployed to the protest to show a human face to the demonstration. Let me take you live to the grounds now, where my colleague Manuel Cranting is marching with the protesters for latest on this march. Manuel, where are you currently and what's been happening there? if you can hear me, I'm asking for you to run us through what's the latest happening at where you are with respect to this Arise Ghana demonstration.
Much has changed since our last update to you from here at the Opera Sport in Accra. What we can see though here is a heavy security present. Well, I've seen some riot control vehicles parked all the way there, and you can see men and women in uniform trying to direct the traffic flow here. That's just beyond the crowd that is building up just by the second as we stay here and wait, count down to midday when the protest is actually expected to begin. For now, though, it's become, a free-for-all jamboree. People dancing to, conscious reggae music. And this is what they tell me they are using to, as it were, just cool their hearts and wait for the lead organizers of the protest to get here. We'll just try and get a bit closer to a few of them and then find out from them what indeed. I see this gentleman tapping a placard. On the placard is written, "Mr. President, where is our money? We are tired of you and your government." My boss, I didn't know say you are tired of the president.
Oh, Siciano, me trust our message in the man said, Siciano, and I got to a man, by Sadio New. Cicia, Nanado was the MPP party. 2016, Yana got to a man MPP. Due to Nanadonti. But now, you know, 2020, but this is the time. This is the time. This is the time. The youth of this country, they should come out. They should come out. Fear and panic. How many fear and panic can I do so? The youth of this country, they need to rise up. They need to rise up. They need to rise up. They tell me just how much they said. They were sick of me. Then after 2016, I can't say, oh, you were sick of me. But it is castle. I come here. Now, where is the money? Where is the money? Nanado, where is the money? So Nanado, Nanado said, Nanado, over 3 times. Over first one, gentleman, second one, gentleman, third one, and then man. So this is the time, Nanado, what is happening?
I didn't know 2020. I wouldn't say 2020 now. These things that you are saying, the NDC, for instance, was saying the same thing. The NDC, almost can never now can see 2020. I didn't know and after we know.
Oh, and the youth of this country, Nanado, you saw your penitino. Or Baba Papa, so what Jimmy was over here.
And so I just
me free call me free me can't. It's a callable me greater. I mean, Nanado, I do get to Jimmy Shablodo. In Ashkanika can be asking Santalewa, Dan and Petron, asking Santalewa. Almost 1.5 years in touching tuning. If be at school, if me power school, maybe be at school. None be there as well. In Ashka,
I feel free SHS.
Dabila, my pay school fees, Abachia. No one make Bananado fight. Dan and Miltuni can be never named to my state. Want me qualify? Can't discuss. I come here. No one can to upload here. I'm a local and I'm a quacker. One fee. Dan and my petrol. Dan and my petrol. Dan what way? I'm now to what be at the back. At the back, now this is time. Mokome tax, Mokome business. I'm a taxi, I'm a now to mo. I'm a beef, I'm a Joshka. I'm a beef. I'm a beef, I'm a Joshka. You will be now to me.
And so what we're seeing is just a bit of an altercation between some of the protesters and then some of the public transport operators. But the police have calmed that down. And so pretty much the same sentiments that we've seen in the past couple of minutes as we've been here. They just been telling us the same thing. You know, a lot of them indicating their frustration with this government.
This is one gallon. No, this is what we are talking about. Have you seen? This is what we are talking about. The fuel is too high. They can't buy it. I know this is a shortage of fuel. This is what we are talking about. The petrol, have you seen? It's not a part of energy. It's a petrol. It's a fuel. It's a fuel.
What is it? What's wrong with your vehicle?
The battery, and then the fuel is even finished. Yeah.
The fuel is...
yes. I couldn't even buy it.
But how do you know that your fuel is finished?
Use the camera.
You moved the vehicle from the house.
That's what we're doing now. I want to move it out.
But the question I'm asking is that why move your vehicle out of the house when you don't have fuel?
Oh, I took my kids to school. Yeah, I took them to school, so I decided to join the demonstration. Just to realize that my fuel is got finished here.
Okay, so the reason you don't have fuel is the high cost of fuel, correct?
Exactly. I couldn't manage. You know, every day I have to buy fuel up, 100 Ghana cedis. Today, this morning, I bought 50 Ghana cedis, but I didn't have much on me. And 50 is just 1 gallon, and it's finished. So just let me park it somewhere, okay?
Okay, so they are going to attempt to push the vehicle away from the road. What we're seeing, according to them, is just one of the, demonstrations of the hardship in the country. But a lot of them are not able to fuel the vehicles. And so, as it were, they break down even in the middle of their journey. This also happens to you sometimes?
No, it doesn't happen. It's because of the high cost of living. Have you seen? The driver is economizing himself. That is why he bought 50 Ghana cedi petrol. Have you seen? The 1 liter of petrol now is 13 cedis. So what are we going as a country? This is very ridiculous. So I'm even urging all the youth who are into politics. Now, they shouldn't think of money. They should think of the issues. Issues are very important. Obviously, so therefore, let's move forward as a country.
I am coming from Togo. Togo. And as now, we are talking. Ghana, what will have been done? Togo, petrol, 1 liter, 6 cedis. Benin, 6 cedis. Nigeria, 6 cedis. Ghana, why? We said we have petrol here. Ghana, why? We are not doing this thing because of politics. But what is going on? In Togo, you can have only 2,000. You can even have a meal
for the whole day by Ghana now. 50 Ghana cedis. What is happening?
But you're coming from Togo. Does that mean that you're a Togolese?
I'm not a Togolese. I'm a Ghanaian. But because of the situation now, I ran away from the Ghana to go and have my greener pasture there. I'm not a Togolese. But if you look at the economics now, the GDP, Togo is far better than Ghana now. And people are coming from Aflao to buy petrol in Togo.
You think Togo is better than Ghana?
No. Togo is far better. Everything, Togo is better than Ghana. I said, Ghanaians are buying petrol in Togo. Ghanaians, they are buying petrol in Togo as we are talking now.
What is that reason? What is that reason? It's because
it's so good. 1 liter, 6 cedis. 1 liter, 6 cedis. Now, when you are in Togo town, you are using Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi around the Togo country. Free Wi-Fi. Why? Ghanaians, why? Akufado, why? What is wrong with us? What is wrong? We are suffering. We are calling all the people to come out, to come and do this demonstration. This is not politics. This is not a politics. This is not a politics. When you are Togo now, you use free Wi-Fi. Wherever you go, you get this. Why is it that the Togo can sell petrol for 6 cedis per liter? Ghana, we are selling petrol for 13 cedis.
So just move a bit around and speak to a few more of the people who are, just moving around. We just try and speak to a few of the taxi drivers and find and get a sense whether or not this is actually a sentiment which resonates with a lot more of the people, even those who are not here protesting today. Some of them, of course, going about their normal duties. Papa, morning. Yes, I say more petrol, no more to Amuntuminto. True. It was Amuntuminto petrol.
There have been Mintuminto.
Then other person buying your mouth.
I was about to so.
I was buying petrol, no so.
Yes.
And so you're just getting a sense of, the issues and how they resonate with regular people. Champion, what's up?
Yeah, thank you.
You know they supported them, eh?
They support, but
why they support them?
Because things have to change. Things have to change because how Ghana is going on now, it's not good. We have to change things.
But you know if you come to them, eh?
No, because of that I pass here. I live in this thing, bomb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what will be your message to the government as you know if you come by they supported them?
They support them. You have to change everything. So that everything to go, so that we can get our peace. Because now we are suffering.
Okay, because now we are suffering. So, just a couple of people that we're speaking to. These are people, properly speaking, who are not part of today's demonstration, but just giving you a sense of how the sentiments that we're hearing from these demonstrators are actually resonating with a lot more other people who really are not part of the demonstration today. We'll just try and speak to a few more people and then we can hand over to you. But I can confirm to you that just as yet, the lead faces that we have known in this demonstration, for instance, the likes of Bernard Mona, Sami Jemfi and the rest, we've not cited them here. And information that we've picked is that they intend to begin the demonstration around midday. And so for now, it's just a bit of, people gathering and the numbers just swelling up as we move by the minute. I'm just catching up with this gentleman. What's your name?
I'm Dr. Jasper Abimbia Ayalazuno, UDS. I'm a professor of political science.
You're professor of political science at UDS?
Yes.
I see. Which campus of UDS?
Nyankwala campus.
I see. But why are you here?
I'm here because I believe in this kind of politics. Because democracy has been hijacked by the political elites, both NDC and NPP, and they recycle themselves into power only to loot the resources of the country. Because there's not this kind of politics, which is also another way of holding leaders accountable, the politicians get to buy themselves the votes and come to power, and they are not held accountable. So this kind of politics is the politics that is needed. There are examples all over the world, like in Latin America, where ordinary people really hold their leaders accountable besides elections. So leaders in Latin America know that elections will not save you because the people will come at you through protest, through demonstration, and sometimes through rebellion.
And you, I mean, we've had a series of protests, and you being a political scientist, you would understand this. In the past, 12 months or so, there have been quite a number of demonstrations. And from the top of my head, I can remember that almost none of them really was able to sustain the result that it was looking for. We want to talk about the NDC's NTR demonstration, the demonstration which protested the e-levy and so on and so forth. All of those didn't seem to have yielded much because, of course, as of today, you and I are paying the e-levy. You think that from where you sit as a political scientist who's also joining this protest will yield any results at all?
Yeah, it will yield results because it only needs to be sustained. Because one of episodic demonstrations will not help. These kind of demonstrations need to be sustained. It shouldn't be one in a year or one in a month. If we have this kind of demonstration every time and the movements are sustained, the politicians fear this kind of demonstrations. They fear this kind of politics because they know that it will affect their electoral chances when it comes to elections. So for all you know, it's making an impact, but you know it now. But if you ask the politicians, they wouldn't like to see this. The present government wouldn't like to see this kind of public here. But they won't tell you because they know this will crystallize into a kind of defeat for them in the 2024 elections. Yeah.
Well, let me just pick your thoughts briefly, and as we wrap up and hand over back to you in the studio, Kojo. What would you think about the Arise Ghana group's decision to want to protest deep into the night? You're talking about sustaining the protest, even in the midst of terrorist concerns that we're seeing in the sub-region. It's not something that you want to recommend, the massing up of a lot of people at the same place for a long time?
No, I wouldn't, because I'm a former police officer too. And there are reasons, security reasons why the police will not like this to be in the dark because of what we just cited. The terrorist, possibility of terrorist attack, possibility of counter demonstrations, because there are other people who don't support this demonstration. So when it is in the darkness, some people can attack the demonstrators. So it's not a good thing to do this demonstration in the dark. So I will recommend that by 4 or 5 p.m. These demonstrations will end, because in darkness it will not be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And so this is what we're getting here at the Opera Spot. Handing over back to you in the studio. Of course, we'll be bringing you all the live updates right from here as this particular demonstration continues to unfold and build up to midday when it eventually takes off from here at the Opera Spot and heads towards the Independence Square.
So that's my colleague Manuel Cranting from the Obra Spot, where the gathering or people are marching up for this particular demonstration. But why are they demonstrating? Because they say the country is difficult. And so the depreciating cedi is affecting many products, including imported baby food. Some parents say they are reconsidering local foods because the price of imported baby food has skyrocketed. Mamiesi Thompson brings you a story of a mother who says spending almost 1,000 cedis weekly on baby food to feed her twins is draining her financially. Stay tuned for more in this edition of our Living Standard series.
Now it's going for 310 cedis. This is a product that used to sell around 230 cedis. Oh, in a week. Close to 1,000.
Exchange rate in the cost for. In Germany, money in our prices as a son.
Babies are a joy and a blessing to have, but bearing all their responsibilities can be expensive, especially in these hard economic times. In this story, I focus on the cost of various baby foods. Alma Teria is blessed with twins. Her breast milk is not enough, so she's been relying on baby foods for her children. She scans the shelves of the baby foods and grocery shop at East Legon and is shocked that the price has gone up again.
as for the money aspect, I don't even want to think about it, because the thing is, when you come to stock the next time you're back, the prices have like doubled or something. Like there's an increase. There's always an increase. Like every time there's an increase, and it's not even funny. Yeah.
Alma says the trend is frustrating her financial plans. She spends close to 4,000 cedis every month on baby formulas.
Before, I used to buy like the Aptamil. A bottle was, I think, 11 or 12 cedis. Baby food, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And then now it's about 23 or 25, right? So you can just imagine. Oh, in a week, close to 1,000. Close to 1,000 cedis. Yeah. Yeah, every week. Close to 1,000. Are you serious? I'm serious.
Her twins turned 1 recently. They started feeding on milk formulas a couple of months after birth. To keep her family budget in check, Alma is now leaning towards corn porridge.
We're supplementing with a lot of cocoa. So, I mean, you do the cocoa, then you, because they are year old now, so then the milk is less, more cocoa, more food, like, trying to win them onto the normal adult food, like, the purees and then the banku rice and all of those things, yeah. A little of it, yeah.
The baby food shop owner, Sylvia, is blaming the high cost of baby food on the depreciating cedi. She tells me they hardly get certain products because of the shortage in the USA, where most of her products are imported from.
It's really affecting business, to tell you the truth, because you go to a shop to get this. When you go to, let's say, Sam's Club, yeah, you want to get Enfamil, you see it, but you can't buy more than 2. For now, it's going for 310 cedis. This is a product that used to sell around 230 cedis, yeah? And for the past, I mean, every day it goes high. Mothers come, they are complaining, oh, your price keeps going high, blah, blah, blah. It's not my fault, it's not anybody's fault. Even in the States, you buy something today, you go there, next day it's gone up by $1, $2, that kind of thing. So it cuts across. At the end of the day, all these things are moved by, with the fuel prices and across the whole world. So when the prices go high or when inflation is high, it affects everything.
Another trader at the Makola market, Auntie Stella, owner of Ritma Baby Love Shop, says that depreciating cedi has pushed many of her colleagues out of business.
The exchange rate has gone up, so it has affected prices and duty costs. Many of my colleagues have stopped the business.
A first-time mother, Benedicta, is with his 7-month-old son, Ethan, at the Makola market to get his food. Ethan relies heavily on baby formulas, but prices have gone up and the 300 cedis she set aside cannot buy enough for 1 month. She tried to bargain with the shop attendant to bring down the prices, but she didn't succeed. She later called her husband to top up her cash.
I came the other day and the price was like, the naan was like 37 cedis, but when I came today, he said it's 45 cedis. Yeah. And I'm even begging him to give it to me 41. He said I have to buy 3 before. Hey. Yeah. And 41 times 3 is, I think, 123. And my money too is not up to that. How much are you having? Yeah, I was thinking it was 40 or 40, 41 cedis. So I'm having I think 115. I've not calculated my money, but my budget for that one is 115.
So what are you going to do now?
I'll buy it like that. At first I've been buying it like 6 or 7 pieces, but today I have to buy like 3.
We say fix the country. You say fix yourself.
The situation will not stop mothers from feeding their babies. Some mothers are now combining foreign baby foods and traditional baby foods to cushion their budgets. But they are calling on the government to ensure a stable currency.
Now let's just stay with the economy because government is under intense pressure to return to the IMF for a bailout in the wake of harsh economic times. The controversial e-levy, touted by government to be a critical solution to fixing the challenge, has not done too well after 2 months of its implementation. The latest tax has raked in just 4% of its projected revenue within the 2-month period. With this trend, some analysts believe the measure might not work as expected. Former Finance Minister said Tepe thinks with the current hardship, Ghana has to consider going back to the IMF. He spoke on the AM show earlier.
So all that a shortfall, whether it is 10%, whether it is 50%, or what we may be seeing as maybe 60 to 70%, because the tax has not stabilized yet, would only worsen, the fiscal situation, because it was not meant to have helped it substantively, despite everything that was being said, that it will create employment, it will do infrastructure and all that. No. Yes, infrastructure, if you're talking about minor infrastructure, which makes a difference, like elementary schools and the rest, yes, it makes a difference.
Seth, pardon the interjection, but correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying it was 1-point-something%, the entire e-levy, because just walk me through this. I may not be an economist. I have a fair knowledge, so just hold my hand because you are the expert here. If you look at 100.5 or 100.05 billion, and you consider that the e-levy initially was supposed to rake in something close to 7 billion, 6.9 billion, and then it was revised to about 4.5 to 5 billion, interacting with Dr. John Kuma, Deputy Finance Minister, you'll be looking at least something around 4.5 to 5%. Or am I getting something wrong?
No, we are expressing it as a percentage of GDP. So let's focus on that. Right. I'm saying that first, your 100 billion approximately is the equivalent of 20% of GDP.
Right. Okay, now, so I now get the understanding. I didn't hear it as an expression of the GDP. I now get what you mean.
Yes, it's an expression of the GDP.
Right, go ahead. Please go ahead.
And so I'm saying that, and if it's the equivalent of 20% of GDP, total revenue, including the e-levy, what is the e-levy's contribution? It is 1.4% of GDP. That is what the approximately 7 billion gives you. My other point is that, therefore, if you are looking at the difficulty facing the nation today, it is that we have a high deficit because the expenditure is about 143 billion, right? Much above, almost, well, let's take government figures. It's 137 billion, which we dispute anyway. Go back to the IMF now for COVID loan. If we were that solid, why didn't we stomach it ourselves? Didn't we the SDR, the countries that have the wherewithal, when they got their SDR, some of the middle income and almost all the advanced countries, what did they do? They divided it, used some of them to create their own buffers, and gave the rest out, to countries like ours, by way of aid and the rest. I mean, if you want to, with a certain clap, you have to do the fundamentals, for you to be there. Okay. I do not see, how we are. By the way, let me also answer this question, which
and maybe just briefly, because we have to go. So this will be the final point.
Hope was to answer a critical one of the home book, particularly the stabilization fund and the second fund. So let me just focus on those. What has the problems that have been buffeting the economy? It is because commodity prices keep going up and down. Forget about Ukraine war and the rest.
Meanwhile, Information Minister Kojo tells JoyNews that contrary to speculations that the country may eventually turn to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, for economic support, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has not given any such indications yet. According to him, the minister is setting about homegrown measures being perused to put the economy back on track. He explained that any other decision will only be taken after analysis of the latest data on the economy is completed.
Well, we are going through a period of assessment, as I think I mentioned to the press yesterday. Started today. Today, for example, we met with market women, transport operators, to get a deeper understanding of, on the food side, what has been the impact of the measures that we introduced. In the coming days, we will look at the fiscal policy framework and how it has performed, including all the revenue handles. We'll get some clarity of those numbers. We'll have an opportunity to look at the rail sector, petrol pricing, the currency, and other things. As we prepare towards the mid-year review, I think it's early days yet. It's also to be expected that at this point in time, you get various bits of speculation coming in. But let's allow ourselves the opportunity to go through this assessment exercise and see the data, and then we can take some decisions based on that.
It's not based on the fact that we're probably overestimated, without considering the shocks that will come by people reversing out of the system because of the introduction.
Like I said, the data is coming in. We are going through the assessment period. It's a bit prejudicial now to try and explain what is suspected to have happened when we're actually now going through the exercise of looking at the data. So I think we should give ourselves the room to see the data, do the analysis, and then we can come up with the consequential decisions.
We've had discussions around IMF. Some say let's go, some say we won't go. But if you look at the reality on the table now, how difficult things are, when are we going to the IMF?
So two things. One, this is not the first time somebody has suggested we should go to the fund for support to deal with the fiscal challenges that we have. I think every now and then you hear somebody make that kind of recommendation. The fund is one, or a fund program is one of the instruments that many governments sometimes resort to when they have fiscal policy challenges. So it's understandable that some people may make that argument. But the person responsible for fiscal policy in this country has been quite clear that he believes that there are clear domestic measures that can answer the same questions for us. I take him at his word. We are additionally going through a process of assessment of the data. You have to come to Parliament with the fiscal outturn for the first half of the year, or maybe ending at the first quarter, and tell us consequently what the fiscal program for the rest of the year is. And I'm sure when he does get to that time, he'll provide us with all the data and the justification for whatever decisions that he's urging on the Republic.
But if it turns out that we have to?
Like I've said, you are at a time when we are all clear in our minds that we have fiscal challenges because of what happened in 2020 when COVID hit us, and what has happened in early 2021 as a result of the global economic difficulties. When you are watching all the screens in your newsroom, you see what's happening in the UK and the US and everywhere else. So that is a given, it's not news. What is the solution? Does the system that manages fiscal policy have domestic answers on the revenue side, on the debt management side, on the forex side, on the expenditure control side, to deal with the challenges? If they do, and like they have explained they do, they'll put it on the table. That will not stop other people from suggesting that they think that a fund program may be preferable. It's a democracy. That's why people raise their various views. So let them come up, but let us be guided by the hard data when it gets to the middle of July, and we're having to put that data out and take a decision.
Inflation is also getting out of hand. What is that big plan of government to keep it in check?
You know, I said today the assessments started. In March, government was the first to signal that looking at what was happening in the Black Sea area, we were most likely going to be very heavily hit because fuel and food will be affected, and financing because of the measures that were being introduced by the EU, etc., will also be affected. The impact on us includes things like high levels of inflation. So you see many countries that are having high levels of inflation, and Ghana is also having high levels of inflation. Today when we met with the market women and the transport operators, a good chunk of their data corresponds with the data from the statistical service. The fuel prices translating into high transport prices are causing high food prices, and many other players in the economy are also therefore increasing their prices because they are saying that a good chunk of disposable income that goes to fuel and food is being consumed.
You're still watching the Joy News desk here on the Joy News channel. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you the latest in business. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome. It's time to do business with me, Beverly Broom. Chief Executive of MTN Ghana has been explaining why cost of data still remains high despite the country being ranked third on the list of countries with cheapest data in Africa. Selom Adadivo says continued consumption and reliance on foreign content, especially those from the United Kingdom and United States, and lack of infrastructure are some of the factors fueling the high cost of data in Ghana. Ohiminteria has more in the following report.
Some concerned Ghanaians recently launched a campaign against what they described as high internet charges. Under the hashtag Data Must Fall, protesters complained the cost of data remained high despite a reduction in communication service tax on September 15, 2020. The concerned Ghanaians, whilst sharing their internet usage cost experience on social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, among others, also tagged their internet service providers. Nana Yao is one of the protesters.
Ever say 8 city, 10 city, data there at least can call crowd can at least say boy data side so come boy so come chow data kakra e ka home.
But speaking at a meeting with news editors in Kumasi, Selom Adadivo explained why the cost of data is so high.
Most of our content comes from US, UK, but either way, if you take our content that comes from outside of Ghana, it's over 90-something%. It's a lot of our content. But if the content is not here, then you have to go through undersea cables, which are cables that take us under the sea. Ghana is connected through different countries in the world to bring the content back, and it's very expensive. What do you think will happen if a lot of our content was in Ghana? We won't need 320 gigabits per second, right? Which means we won't pay for 320 gigabits per second. So what do you think will happen to the cost of data? It'll be cheaper, okay? Someone say, oh, Ghana is expensive. Let's compare to America. Let's compare to the UK. And then they'll do all these analysis. But what they forget is that in the UK, they consume content that's from the UK. In the US, they consume content that's from the US. These guys have over 300,000 kilometers of fiber. Fiber is also cheaper. When you have fiber all over the country, you can transmit a lot of data very cheaply on that one cable. So these are all the things that contribute towards data and why it's maybe not as affordable as we would like. But you know, if you think about Africa, Ghana is probably number 3 in terms of cheapest country for data.
There is, however, hope for Ghanaian data consumers and internet users. According to Mr. Adadivo, consumption of local content can help bring down the cost of data in Ghana. It is in this light that he has hailed JoyNews, a Pan-African application programming interface marketplace that enables developers and businesses to discover and subscribe to the largest library. Content developers can easily tap into a broad spectrum API products and services ranging from telecommunications, e-health, e-government, fintech, e-commerce, among others in Africa. Mr. Adadivo explains.
Once we're able to support through platforms like JoyNews, where small enterprises can build more local content so people can consume, all of these things are geared towards localization for local consumption. If we can achieve that, then we'll continue to accelerate the improvements in pricing for data.
From Kumasi, JoyNews reporting.
That's all for business now, but you can have more business stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. We have more coming up in our subsequent bulletins.
Well, now time for us to bring you sports, and the man Lawrence is already in the studio. Hi, good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning, Luis.
What's on the table today?
Some good news for Ghanaian players outside.
Okay.
Because Daniel Kojo has become just the third Black Stars player to make a move this summer. He joins Bundesliga side Freiburg for the ahead of the 2022-2023 season. So what happens is that Kojo was always expected to move after an impressive season with St. Pauli last season. He scored 12 goals, assisted 9 times. So obviously his quality was definitely going to be in demand. We saw clubs like Mönchengladbach, and then Schalke also came in for him. So it was always going to be a big summer for the guy. He's been impressive. I don't know, when he got his debut in September for the Black Stars, there were some backlashes that he plays in the lower division. But then looking at what he's done over the last 2 years, it's been something impressive. 67 appearances for St. Pauli, scoring 22 goals. That's a typical marksman of.
And when he turns out for the Black Stars too, he doesn't show that he is a player who's playing in the lower division.
Exactly. People say, I think one of the games when he came on, the suggestion was that the Black Stars are failing to keep the ball. He came on, and then the team is able to keep possession for like 10 to 15 seconds. That's the quality of someone who has command over his game, someone who is able to control the tempo of the game. I think with the move to the Bundesliga, it also means that because Freiburg qualified for the Europa League, so that means he will be playing in Europe next season. So we get to see more of his quality when you have Ghanaians rooting to watch such a talent like Daniel Kojo. As a player, it gives you so much joy, and then it will be something that Ghanaians will get to do regularly for next season, because Europa League, Bundesliga, we have the, some TV stations showing it. So definitely we will see Kojo in action.
We only pray that he gets the needed time. Because, you know, when you move to a new team, if care is not taken, then you tend to be limited in the number of minutes you get on the field. So we pray that he gets that time to show the world what he's made up of. And that would also improve the Ghana squad we're taking to the World Cup, because when you have first team players who are always on the pitch, I mean, their names are out there, and so when they are going to face an opponent, first of all, in the mind of the opponent, they are already at a disadvantage.
And
so it's important.
One thing that will help is that in the Bundesliga, you face some of the top stars in Germany, so it won't be an intimidating factor when you get to Qatar, and then you have to face the likes of Ronaldo, Heung-min Son, and Federico Valverde. Once he has this exposure, it's a big opportunity for him. He joins Jojo Wallacott, and then Usman Bukari. Bukari moved to Red Star Belgrade, while Jojo Wallacott moved from League 2 to League 1, joining Charlton Athletic.
Interesting. Let's see how it goes. But that's how we wrap up today's bulletin. There's more news and information at myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace will have a date again at midday. Until then, please do enjoy the rest of our shows.